Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're stepping onto the mat, but we're going way beyond the traditional poses. We're diving deep into the world of Ashtanga Yoga, a practice known for its intense discipline, to see what happens when some of its most respected teachers decide to, well, think outside the box. So Ashtanga is a practice that's absolutely steeped in tradition. But here's the thing, and this quote from Peg McQueen really hits it home. There's a super fine line between honoring that tradition and just falling into groupthink. All right, Act 1, breaking from the pack. We're going to meet three incredible teachers who are really shaking things up. They're challenging the conventional wisdom of Ashtanga and, carving out their own paths in what is a very, very structured system.
Okay, so when we say they're stepping out of the box, what does that box even look like? Well, picture this. Conventional Ashtanga is known for its really rigid structure. We're talking silent rooms, absolutely no props, and just the disciplined, silent repetition of the same sequence of postures over and over. It's an incredibly powerful practice, for sure, but you can imagine how for some it might start to feel a little restrictive.
And right away, you see this fascinating split in how to approach this. On one hand, you have Harmony Slater, who's all about a softer, more feminine path. For her, the person doing the practice is more important than the perfect form. But then you have David Garrigues. Now, he loves the traditional structure. He really does. But he uses it as a launch pad, a foundation to explore from, even bringing in things like props to customize the practice.
Let's dig into Harmony's path a bit more. She basically flips the whole script. She suggests that this constant push for physical achievement, she even calls it an addiction to doing, can actually get in the way. Her whole approach is about tuning in, listening to your body's subtle energy, and finding value in something other than just nailing a difficult pose. And then there's David Garrigues. He embraces the form, but he totally revolutionizes how you apply it. He goes right after that old Ashtanga mantra, you know the one, do your practice and all is coming. He flat out says, I don't subscribe to that. He thinks it's not just an ineffective way to learn, but that it can actually be disrespectful to your body, maybe even harmful. Okay, so Act 2. Two paths, one goal. As we get deeper into this, the conversation naturally shifts to this huge classic debate in the yoga world. Are the physical postures, the asana, are they a complete meditative experience all by themselves? Or is something else needed? Harmony has a really interesting way of framing this. She calls asana an outside-in practice. You use the external form, the control of the body, to draw your mind to a single point. And then she calls meditation an inside-out practice. That's where you soften, you receive, and you let your mind just listen to the body's inner energy. But David, he sees no division at all. He passionately pushes back on this idea. For him, the physical practice is the prayer. It's not some tool you use to get to a meditative state. It is a complete devotional act, a communion, all on its own. And he really questions this hierarchy that seems to pop up where one practice is seen as better than another. He sees it as this long history of kind of putting down physical yoga. He says the meditation people, they have to say that asana is not meditation or that it's not good enough. He's just like, I don't think we need that. He's arguing that both have incredible, profound value. So just as this debate is really heating up, a third voice enters the chat. Teacher T.Landrum comes in and basically reframes the entire argument. He says he finds this whole binary debate puzzling. He just refuses to pick a side. And Ty's perspective really offers a way through this whole thing. He's like, look, both paths can lead you to the exact same subtle inner place. He calls them different access points to the same experience. And he argues that asana often gets sold short in these comparisons. By setting them up as opposites, he says, we're totally missing the point. So that leaves us with a really important question, right? If these methods look and feel so fundamentally different, one is all about external control and the other is about internal stillness. Where's the common ground? How do they connect? And the answer, the resolution, comes from a place I don't think anyone saw coming. Welcome to Act 3, The Power of Black. We're about to shift from the how of the practice to the deep, deep why. And it's all wrapped up in the powerful symbol of the color black. David kicks off this final act with this incredibly poetic passage from his journal. He completely reframes the color black. It's not emptiness, not an absence of light. For him, it's this fertile, forgiving source. He calls it my refuge, my rest, my still point. Just beautiful. And then T.Landrum takes this symbol and gives it this profound psychological depth. He talks about the blackness, and for him, it's a metaphor for something we all know, that universal human experience of sorrow, of self-doubt, that feeling that we just don't belong.
And this leads to his idea of the path of the Black Lotus. He proposes this totally radical shift. He says the true spiritual path isn't about chasing the light all the time. It's about having the courage to turn around and embrace our own shadow. The real work, the hard work, is learning to turn toward our sorrow with compassion, not trying to escape it. And you know what? This is the idea that finally brings all three of these teachers together. This idea of confronting our own inner darkness. It doesn't matter if you get there through intense movement or through profound stillness. The goal isn't to just slap a yoga band-aid on our wounds. It's about going inward to find real, deep healing. But choosing this path of authenticity, it's not easy. It comes with challenges. And in this really striking moment of vulnerability, David admits that walking this unconventional road has come with a cost he never anticipated. A profound sense of loneliness and, as he puts it, a certain darkness.
And that just reveals this beautiful, tender paradox right at the heart of all this. The journey to find yourself is, by definition, an individual one. But it doesn't have to be a lonely one. It turns out that community, that connection, it's absolutely essential. Which leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought to chew on. To truly find yourself, must you first embrace the dark? Maybe the most unconventional, most outside-the-box path of all has nothing to do with yoga poses and everything to do with finding the courage to walk straight into our own sorrow.